Hello and welcome to another Sci-Fi. Me, GamerWolfSix of Khemia. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free on itch.io. But if you want to support the people that make this game and get the maybe newest version earlier, Patreon, the grants free. So far, at least. So, on the last Let's Play, we were getting briefing on what was happening on Earth because, avian flu, something like that. And since we are the noob diplomat, we're getting a little cuddly with Nefru in a den. Nice. But then, someone came in, he formed a wave, and then we're covered in viscera and stuff. Which isn't gonna do well for Scipio's mental state. So, we're gonna reset our face. And begin. The light goes on, floating around us, displaying the horror. What the hell happened? Calm. Nefru is moving around beside me, but I can't move. I smell this person all over me. I'm covered in him, tasting his blood, viscera, and more in my muzzle. An assassination attempt was attempted on the lives of Nefru and Scipio. Separatist connections are suspected. Amicus has been notified. The drone's small, built-in speaker makes Com's voice sound harsh, and its light turns to illuminate the wall. I see everything. No. Target fully neutralized. Body state is incompatible with life. No. Skip? I grasp at my mane, and I feel them pulling at it. They're gonna pull me out in the street. What? Nefru finally focuses on me after fumbling around with the lights. I need to. Can't breathe. I roll off the bed, feeling the blood and soft, fleshy masses in my fur as I try to crawl under the bed, but I find no space. Then I crawl behind the sofa, still covering my mane, avoiding the blood in the streets, avoiding the men with bricks torn from the university. I avoid looking at one of my old professors in rhetoric as he gets his head smashed in with one of those bricks. The men taunt him, asking if his fancy words can save him now. I curve my eyes, waiting. Someone, Nefru, touches my shoulder. It's like I'm in 2 times, in places at once, but the touch, it begins to ground me. Still, I curve my mane and tremble until I'm finally able to bring the present back into focus, when it's not much better than the past. I look up and see Nefru staring at me. He sees it. He sees what's wrong with me. I am certain I'm not going to Khemia anymore. What follows is patchy, blurry mess that my memory is never able to put together. It's like during my first years of university, getting far too inebriated at the bar, only to wake up with a raging headache and the hope that I didn't do anything too awful the night before. I know that feeling. But there's no joy in this feeling of inebriation, just numbness. There are a few things I'm able to remember, though I'm unsure if it's real or imagined. Wolves come into the room, and I don't know if they're from the establishment or if they're Imperial officials. More drones follow. I know these are from the palace because only the Imperial family owns drones. I'm on a small ship. All the while, I'm trembling. I can't stop, despite not feeling cold, or really any distinct emotion at all. Nefru tries to speak to me every now and then, but seems to give up after I only offer one-word answers. I thought I was done with this, but it's just like the first night after it happened. Like it's never left me. I'm still broken. Then, I'm being ushered out of the ship by Nefru. Calm is talking to us, but I'm not paying attention to him. It's like my mind is crowded with too many thoughts, yet I'm not thinking of anything. Or at least, I'm trying not to think of anything. I'm vaguely aware of the fact that Nefru has been cleaning my fur on the way here, yet the smell is still all over me. I've heard that jackals have a weaker sense of smell, or at least not as sensitive as that of a wolf. But now that I'm focused on the smell, I keel over and retch violently. Ow, Tep! I'm jerked to the side, and at first I think it's Nefri pushing me away. I wouldn't fault him for it, but instead he's positioned me over the bushes to be sick into them rather than on the path. Not much comes up, but the wine from earlier, and it burns worse than I remember from my younger years. All the while, Nefru is holding back my mane, just like my schoolmates might have back in those days. Before the riots, anyway. Those events seem to knock the innocence and wonder of being at university right out of us. Amicus insists that you meet him at the palace. Gods, tell him we're on our way. Skip is unwell. No, don't tell him that. I'm fine. I straighten up purposely, taking a deep breath, only to breathe in the scent of the assassin. He filters through my nostrils as fresh as when he first splattered through our room. Again, I give a retch, but I'm empty, and nothing comes up this time. Skip, what's wrong? Are you injured? Are you sick? Yes, that's it. Yes, I'm physically ill. I steady my feet again, then straighten up my posture, setting off in the direction of the palace when Nefru falls along, his paw on my back. I shrug him off, not when to appear as if I needed steadying, like I'm some woman about to faint. Still a little bit, I was feeling off earlier in the evening, and I suppose it developed further. I'm feeling better now, though. I'm regaining my composure. I'm beginning to breathe my breathing exercises, the ones that usually steady my pause and racing thoughts. Still, even as I slow my breathing, my vision continues to blacken at the edges and ebbs and flows, a constant threat that I might lose consciousness. There's the one thing I cannot do right now. I'm not in front of the men who are in charge of this mission, not in front of the men. Too much depends on this. Somehow, over the course of 20 paces, I am able to focus my mind and recompose my outward demeanor, all by blocking out what just happened. I've worked my way up and up to this position for far too long. I will not fail now. Will not let the heights I've reached be used against me. Still, I know what I'm doing isn't going to help tomorrow, or the next day, or next, but that's unimportant right now. Come on, Amicus is waiting. I don't look at him, but I can tell Nefru is staring at me as he follows along at my side, and I can tell he wants to ask further questions. Of course he does, but thank the gods, he keeps silent as we turn to walk through the archway and into the palace. I've only been inside the palace twice. The first time was 2 years ago, with the 2 other assistants in training, when Amicus interviewed the 3 of us before sending us back to university. The last time was last week, when I'd shown up with the same wolves, only to watch one, then another dismissed until I was alone. I need to display the same confidence that I'd felt back then, to simply keep the last hour wiped from my mind. My confident stride falters when I see Amicus through, though, standing right there in the main hallway. His presence is always intimidating. He is the Emperor, after all. But right now, he looks especially imposing because he's angry. What the hell do you think you were What the hell were you thinking? Sorry, it's hard to be like, I'm reading this for the first time, but also expressing emotion. More than angry. I've seen him angry before. This is fury. But he's not looking at me. In fact, it's like I'm not even present. His gaze reserved only for the jackal beside me. This is good, actually. Nefru's smug nature returns, and I have to admit that impresses me a bit. Even if he is the pharaoh's son, he's still a lone jackal within the palace of an enraged wolven emperor. Amicus raises a paw, as if to stop the jackal physically. No, Nefru. I'm not playing your stupid games tonight. This goes beyond. The emperor seems to remember himself, and takes a deep breath, though through a smoldering fury continues to burn in his eyes. You realize how serious this is. What could have happened? I realize this, yes. I was there. Then what the fuck were you doing in the Clay District? I jump, never having heard Amicus shout like that, or curse in such a manner, for that matter. Carelessly showing your face, no appointments, no protection. Oh, they offer protection there. Nefru's joke falls terribly flat, and Amicus lets it hang there in the air, as if to emphasize the stupidity of even saying it. You know, I almost felt guilty assigning Joan to tell you covertly. What if you'd been killed? I thought you were at least somewhat sensible. Amicus' muscle hangs open for a moment, as if trying to search for words appropriate enough to describe his disbelief and anger. Even though, through my numb senses, I am able to feel some shame and embarrassment, not only for myself, but for Nefru as well. What had we been thinking? We knew the separatist movements had been gaining a bit more momentum lately, becoming more radical. We discussed the possibility of things becoming more dangerous. While I might not matter in the grand scheme of the mission, losing Nefru would. Well, it would end the mission. It might even start a war. That's exactly what the Separatists want, after all. You know, we don't actually know much about it. Is it just that they hate the Jackals, or is it anti-imperialism? Emperorness? I don't know. I suppose I had simply assumed Nefru knew the risks, knew what he was doing, but I hadn't even bothered to ask. I look at him and see that he has his ears back, eyes downcast, though they flick in my direction, instinctively causing me to lower my gaze. Amicus's anger seems to lose its edge, his demeanor shrinking a bit as he waits for Nefru to respond. When the jackal offers nothing, Amicus spreads his paws in a gesture of bewilderment. I mean, you're not some frolicking first-year student needing a private room for fornication, are you? I've set you up with the best living quarters in the Imperial District. It's a long walk, and I was tired, Amicus. What? You? Again, the Emperor is at a loss for words. Anger steadily replaced with disbelief, while I suddenly begged Nefru to just be a little serious. An assessment of the current situation indicates that I have information that might be of use to you, Amicus. What, about the assassination? About Nefru's living accommodations. Oh, shut it, Com. What is it? The magistrate of the Imperial District ordered for the apartment to be renovated and thus evicted Nefru. What? I was not notified of this. According to Adastra Code 3304, under housing, Magistrate Anthony was fully within his rights to do without notifying you, Amicus. Then where the hell have you been living, Nefru? The Jack opens his mouth, but is interrupted by Com once again. He has been renting various temporary living spaces, mainly within the Silk and Clay districts. I have logged the addresses of each location if you'd like to. Shut the hell up for once, Com. The point has been made. If all you do is spy, then you should learn to read the room. That word again. Read the room does not compute, Nefru. We know, Com. Nefru, why did you not tell me of this? Amicus looks less angry now, more confused. Nefru sighs. You are the Emperor of Adastra. You have larger issues to worry about than me getting kicked out of my place of residence because of wolven spite. Not if it endangered your life. If the Pharaoh or even the Vizier knew of you slinking around the worst districts of Adastra City, all of our efforts over the past 4 years would have ended within seconds. Why are you so sure of that? You seem to think they care about me. I said none of your games tonight. I know your relationship with your father is a poor one, but frankly, that matters little to me. What does matter is the optics. Imagine the son of the Khemian pharaoh being murdered on one of the poorest districts of Adastra. Imagine it. Like it or not, you are my responsibility while you are here, as you are a diplomatic guest. So, my inability to, at the very least, keep you alive would demand an answer from Khemia and sit back all overwork by years, if not generations. That finally seems to get through to the Jackal, and he does not respond this time. A very uncomfortable silence follows. Then the Jackal bows with a quick duck of its head. You are right, Amicus. I suppose I have become too comfortable on this moon. I apologize for my negligence. Nefru then turns to me. And I apologize to you, Scipio. I had no intention of endangering your mission, but more importantly, your life. For whatever reason, the responsibility didn't even cross my mind. Forgive me. He catches me a bit off guard, but I manage to keep my composure. You have my forgiveness, Nefru. Then, realizing Amicus's eyes are now on me, I quickly turn to him. I'm adjusting to learning about this new position I'm in. Still, I should have known such actions were reckless. I am sorry, my Emperor. I kneel before Amicus, holding my breath, at the same time hearing Nefru exhale. A gentle sigh, as if seeing me do such a thing, bothers him. I don't care, though. This is the moment to prepare myself for dismissal from both the palace and my position. Nefru's paw comes to rest on my shoulder in a somewhat supportive way. Amicus rubs his face with his paw tiredly, sighing loudly. Get up, Scipio. If anyone is kneeling, it should be Nefru. Amicus glares back at the Jackal as it gets my feet, swaying slightly, dizzy for some reason. Just be thankful that Virginia is not aware of this. Amicus, you should know that a report on this incident had been filed to Virginia upon her awakening. Delete that comm! Delete report of assassination attempt on the lives of Nefru and Scipio for Virginia. It'd be kind of funny if it was said Amicus and Nefru being like, no, we don't want to make her angry. She's gonna give us both a stern talking to. Gods, I have such a mess to clean up now. Who else knows of what happened? The owner of the establishment, and possibly a few housekeepers. Guard the entrance to that den. Ensure that no one leaves the premises until I arrive. Amicus walks past us, and I can hear a deep rumble of a stifled growl in his throat before he calls me over his shoulder. Or calls over his shoulder? Yeah. Nephew, you are to take up residence in the palace once more. I'll have your belongings moved here from wherever hellhole you're staying now. Oh, wonderful. In fact, Alert Vetrius and Brutus, they will both be moving residence behind the palace walls first thing in the morning. We can afford mistakes at this point. Yes, Amicus. Ah, where shall we bed tonight, Amicus? Amicus is almost past the archway. Same room as last time. It should be the same as he left it. Also, that is a good question. Why is he not in the palace anymore? I don't think anything's changed since, That'll be a question put in Discord. Oh, really? I thought that room was for the Emperor. But Amicus disappears around the corner, a small parade of drones following him. Nephew goes quiet, sighing deeply. He rubs the back of his neck, glancing at me. Does this mean I take the sofa? I gesture at one of the velvet couches, only partially joking, as I'm not sure where I'm supposed to stay. Still, I'm relieved I am such an afterthought in Amicus's mind, at least for now. If you'd liked, I don't think I've ever seen anyone use them. I believe, however, that Amicus was implying that we share the room. Yeah, nobody sits on those couches. They're like decorative couches. What makes you believe that? There are 2 beds in that room, if it has stayed the way I remember. I see. So, maybe I'm not such an afterthought. I wonder if Amicus still has our relationship in mind, even though such things seem much less important to me right now. I think about my small room on campus, the one I'd moved into 2 years ago, the place that I desperately wish to be right now. Being in a private room amongst the facility, I don't have to mingle with the students in the dorms. Not that I would have to, anyway, considering it's mostly empty for the summer. But while I'd like to be alone, I'm not sure if there's security there robust enough to deal with the assassination attempts, and I don't know if Amicus has a drone tailing me as well. Probably not. So, do you wish to speak about what happens, or... In all honesty, I wish to have a long bath. I am becoming aware of the smell again. Now, I'm no longer distracted by the Emperor. I'll take that as a no. Follow me. I don't know why you'd want to bath, especially if you were covered in the viscera. Like, a shower is probably good. I've been covered in not so good stuff of a similar nature, but, yeah, showers. I frown a bit as I follow the jackal. Why would he expect me to open up? Then I remind myself he's Khemian, and I should be adapting to what they expect from a friendship. It's just that I'd rather have my issues not be a topic he's so interested in. We walk in silence through the marble halls, and soon cross to the sections I'm not familiar with. Last time I visited the palace, I had been too preoccupied to really take in my surroundings. Now I'm able to see that it's a rather empty, almost utilitarian in its design. One would think the halls were embroidered with gold and encrusted with precious stones, if they only listened to the rumors spread by the lower classes. We come to a stop at what appears to be a door without a handle, and Nefru automatically raises a paw to the black square, which sends the door sliding open at a startling speed. Now, that is a bit fanciful, I must admit. What's even more fanciful is the giant bath, the same size as the public one at the university, maybe even bigger. The university's bath is almost always filled with dozens of men, but this one is completely empty. Instead of the sulfuric smell I'm used to, I am instead hit with a warm, steamy wall of floral scents. Help yourself. Jones will clean up after you. I step in hesitantly, then notice Nephew hanging back. Don't you need to wash as well? There's a personal bath in the room. Besides that, I feel you need a more... Nephew makes vaguely waving motions with his paws. Wide, open spaces to ease your mind. That what you experienced was a terrible thing, and I know it has affected you. I bristle. For that moment, yes, but I had time to collect myself. Well, take the time to collect yourself further. When you're finished, ask for directions to where I am. Com will direct you. Also, that face right there, I'm just like, don't look at me like that. I just want you to give me the sexy look. Nefri steps out, leaving me frowning once again at his abrupt nature. Or is it just rudeness? I had used a firm tone, but only to hint that I didn't want to talk about it. My wolven friends would have understood. I find myself agreeing more with what Vetrus said about casual betrayals, and the possibility that this casual relationship will be more difficult to maintain than the word would indicate. I have to admit, the more I get to know him, the more odd he seems. Maybe I misjudge our relationship, and Nefru himself, but I can't worry about that now. He's under stress as well, possibly more than me, so I ignore it for now. Not to mention, slightly drunk, having forgotten about the wine he drank earlier. Still, the more I think of it, the more sad I've become, especially after going through something terrible that was essentially due to his negligence. I begin undressing, deciding to be faster with my own tongue when I speak to him in the future. Never thinks himself to be more clever than he is. That much is clear about him. Maybe next time I'll show him that it's not difficult to speak fast while also being rude. Oh, come on. Don't be like that. Neferu's a good guy. Not for me, anyway. I simply yield to a higher authority, and be an assistant to the scholar on the mission. Well, that means I yield to almost everyone here. Neferu, however, insists we speak as equals, and if most of my assignment involves needing to learn more about him, then I must do that. I suck air through my teeth as I slip into the water, a bit surprised how much hotter it is than the university bath. I usually lower myself slowly, but it's painful enough that, as my groin nears steaming water, I just drop in all at once. I groan in equal parts pain and pleasure before dunking my head into the sensitive water. I come back up, tasting the salty minerals, leaving me to wonder how they've kept the smell so pleasant. Maybe it's completely artificial. A far cry from the natural springs back in Lux, but I don't mind. I'm already feeling better, shivering down my spine a few times as I imagine the remnants of the night washing off and floating away from my body. I submerge myself a few more times before finally setting back and sighing deeply. I am finally able to relax. I almost heed from the tension of having such important eyes on me the entire day. And from the terror of the past hour, the reminder making my chest feel hollow and my head feel light. Has it only been that long? So far, Nefru hasn't shown any indication it intends to tell anyone else about how he saw me react. Still, that frosty look in his face when he left just now. Though I had been reluctant to share my experience with the jackal, I now think it'd be wise to open up to him a bit. He'd see my reaction and question it, seemed offended by my willingness to share. offended by my unwillingness, I can read. I decided to try to achieve some understanding, just in case he goes elsewhere for answers. During the psychological portion of the venting process for my position, I'd almost crumbled multiple times. I doubt I'd be able to do it again in my current state. Then, maybe they chose the wrong wolf? Okay, it's starting to get a bit loud on my end. I'm just gonna smidge it down a smidge. It will be difficult, confessing my mental weakness to someone that isn't my mindfulness teacher, or my mother. My eyes fly open as I realize I've forgotten to send my daily message to her. Damn it. Calm? Yes, Scipio. Do you have a portal here that I can use? I'm sorry, but I cannot allow you to use technology reserved for the Imperial family. I sigh, wondering if I'd have to ask Nerfru to borrow his. However, your personal portal is due to arrive within a minute, along with the rest of your belongings. Would you like me to send it to you in the baths? Yes, please. I quickly stand the soap up. One sec. Gotta sneeze. Sorry. Scrubbing and then rinsing my fur carefully to really get the spots that felt hard and bristled. I dry my fur in a hurry, and as I'm dressing, a tiny drone floats down from an opening in the ceiling, balancing a silver rod about the length of my forearm on its top. I pluck my portal from the floating machine in a delicate manner, now very well aware what they're capable of in combat. Thank you. I mumble quietly, but it immediately floats away, back to its ceiling hatch. I quickly tap it to extend the transparent floating panel from the rod. I feel my heart leave my chest when I see that I have a message waiting for me from Mother. I'd hoped that maybe she hadn't been up yet. Even though Lux is several hours ahead of Adastra, she's always up before Vita rises. I open it and read a small message. Skippy, I hope you're well. Did you fall asleep early? I imagine they must be working you quite hard. Please respond when you can. Oh, my love. Mother. It was sent around the time I had been asleep, before it happened. What if I hadn't survived and never sent her a final message because of my forgetfulness? I started to type a message back, a quick one, but then I noticed the icon in the corner. Visual communication is what truly makes this device a portal. We only use it once weekly, but that day is 2 days away, and because I miss sending my message on time, and because I miss Mother, I push the icon, resembling an arrowhead, as if pointing the direction to where she is, thousands of kilometers away. She enters within seconds, and at first, all I see is white fabric, then a bracelet, then my mother's face. Skip, are you alright? You fell asleep, didn't you? She doesn't sound too worried or upset, but her chiding voice makes it difficult to speak for some reason. As if I were to be completely honest, I'd give up my mission just to be with her again, to be in the warmth of her villa, with the smell of wolven thick in the air. Scipio? Are you alright? No, you're right, aren't you? Have you just had a bath? Your mane is sticking up all over. I wish these two were actual portals. I reach through to fix it right now. Forces inside my mind that I thought I'd rebuilt comes crumbling down. I open my mouth, but all that comes out is a sob as tears well up and soak into the fur of my cheeks. And I think that's a good time to call it. I thought I was going to do a slow fade there, but it do be like that. So, out of this side play? Yeah. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Please comment, guys. Comment, something you like, dislike, tips, tricks, otherwise. If you like my YouTube and like see it grow, then please subscribe and check out other videos to help it grow. And please remember to spay new animals to help control the pig population. And if you want to play this game, it's available free on itch.io. But if you want to support the people that make this game, but there isn't a new version earlier, at this point, I guess, they do have a Patreon if you want to check it out. And until next time, is that right? I guess so. Until next time, be GamerWolfSix of Khemia, a game about Jackalmen. Thanks and see you.